My friend Leo appeared in the doorway of the house, followed by the woman from the custody service. She said I would have 3 fathers now. What? Then 2 twins, who looked to be in their 20s, came out to us. Leo introduced them. These were Toby and Mike, his best friends, and they would also be my guardians. Did I get adopted by 3 people? Was that even possible? However, the guys immediately invited me to lunch. I was very hungry, but there was only instant noodles on the table. And I remembered how my mother used to cook. A lump rose in my throat. A couple of months ago, my parents died in a car accident. Everyone was saying that I needed to move on with my life, but how? The children from the orphanage did not accept me. I was withdrawn and shy, and when I thought that nothing good would happen in my life, my old friend Leo wrote to me. I had been running an Instagram page for a long time, and there I pour my heart out in posts. Once he subscribed to me and we began to communicate. Despite the difference of 4 years, it was always very easy with him. He was the only person who understood me, and he was so naive and kind, just like a child. When Leo found out about my tragedy, he urged me to move on with my life and try to go to the medical school I had so longed for. And indeed, it turned out that my parents left me savings to pay for college. But alas, according to the law, only the guardians who would adopt me could get them. Leo cryptically replied that he knew how to help. He had his own house, so he could take over custody. God, Leo, are you serious? And now I was sitting in the kitchen and I couldn't believe that Leo and I had made it. But 3 guardians were too much, of course. But come on, I decided to thank Leo and start by washing the dishes. But Leo decided to help me. Guys don't like washing dishes, do they? He was humming a tune, and I was embarrassed to say that he had a very pleasant voice. Leo smiled. He wanted to record his song for a long time, but his guitar was broken, and he didn't have enough money for the one he dreamed of. It was expensive. Lowering his eyes, he said that they were now on a tight budget, but he added that I would not need anything. Oh, Leo, for me the main thing is that you are near. I fell asleep with a feeling that I was in my place, but in the morning, as soon as I opened my eyes, the twins burst into the room with a phrase that today I would clean the house according to the schedule. This wasn't how I imagined my first day in a new family, but I quickly gathered myself. After all, the guys took me in. I was dusting when I found a bag of balloons under the table. They seemed to know it was my birthday tomorrow. I smiled, but there was a knock on the door. A loader was standing in the doorway with a huge box. New TV? Wow, it could cover half of the wall and had a camera. And Leo said they didn't have much money. The twins fussed and said that they didn't have money. And Mike had won this TV in the lottery. Wow, cool. What a lucky guy. During the cleaning, the day passed unnoticed, and before I went to bed, I was already looking forward to Leo and the guys congratulating me in the morning. However, this did not happen. Confused, I went down to breakfast and heard the twins loudly discussing some party. Wow. So there would also be a surprise party? I pretended not to hear anything. I wanted to go for a walk, but the twins suddenly blocked my path. What happened? Toby handed me the money and a list of groceries. And Mike said I needed to buy them all, and quickly. I was in shock. Did they send me out for groceries on my own birthday? I was so taken aback that I couldn't argue. In the store, it turned out that the most expensive products were on the list. Not everyone could afford them. But I immediately checked myself. The guys were trying for me. Anticipating the fun, I dragged my bag home and opened the door. But there were already a bunch of strangers hanging out in the room. Looked like the twins were going to announce that I was the birthday girl. But Toby just barked that everyone was already hungry, and I could go to my room and let them hang out. Wait, wasn't this a holiday for me? Tears of resentment welled up in my eyes. Had Leo forgotten about me too? I didn't expect that from him. Depressed, I went to my room and suddenly heard my name. I listened. Mike was bragging to his brother Toby. I would have taken someone under guardianship before if I knew how much money it would bring. We'll take all her money, and then we'll find a new victim, he said. What? The front door slammed. It was Leo. He immediately came up to me and shyly handed me a box with a large bow. I quickly opened it and could not believe my eyes. There was a microscope. This was the one I needed to get into college. Unable to contain my emotions, I rushed to Leo, and he gently hugged me and goosebumps ran through my body. Leo asked anxiously why I was so sad on my birthday. I hesitated and timidly replied that it looked like the twins were spending the money my parents had left me, but Leo's face changed. And he added that the twins were his best friends. They would never do that. I was so hurt. Why don't you believe me? Then Mike and Toby appeared on the steps. They seemed to have heard everything. Just looking at them made a cold sweat break out on my forehead. I pushed Leo away and ran to my room. Guys stole from me. I had to report it to the police. I picked up the phone with trembling hands. Damn, my hands are shaking. They pounded on my door and soon there was a loud crunch. Toby broke the flimsy latch. He grabbed my phone and shouted that if I wanted to complain about something I would regret. Guests began to flock to my room. It looked like they heard something. Oh, teenage whims. Toby told them sarcastically. He left, and I was still shaking. I couldn't go outside. The twins were just playing video games in the living room. Yes. That's right, the console. The new TV had a camera. If I could record their conversation, it would serve as proof for Leo. For the next half day, I tried to get timing right when the twins wouldn't be watching TV. Then I heard them go into the kitchen to get some chips. I didn't have much time, so I immediately went down to the TV and turned on the camera with trembling hands. I think it worked. All I had to do was sneak back to my room. What are you doing here? Suddenly I heard above me. I was stunned. Twin Mike was standing very close. He continued, "We'd rather you buy us something else with your money instead of just hanging around." So he didn't understand what I was doing here. I glanced at the camera. The light was on and the recording was still going on. The guys were happy and discussed their new life at my expense. I felt elated. Soon Leo would know the truth. I knew that he would support me and protect me. Just like my dad did. Tears welled up in my eyes again. As soon as Leo returned, I immediately pulled him to the TV in anticipation. I turned on the recording. Mike was already on the screen. I froze, and suddenly, black screen. I was stunned. "Leo, it looks like the camera's turned off. I'm not lying to you." But Leo only said sadly that he was very disappointed. How could I say these lies about his best friends? Lowering his eyes, he added that he had a very different opinion of me. I had a terrible sinking feeling. The person closest to me thought I was a liar. The next morning, the twins made me wash all their shoes, and when Toby saw a spot on his sneaker, he yelled that if it wasn't for the money, they would have thrown me out for sure. Suddenly, I heard someone moving in the corridor. I was desperate. In tears, I wandered into the bathroom to wash the sneakers. Why do I need all this? Even Leo doesn't believe me. Suddenly, Leo came into the bathroom. It turned out that he had returned for the wallet and had heard everything. Leo started to apologize for not believing me right away, and then he added that now he would never let me offend, but we needed proof. Then the brothers would be deprived of their guardianship rights. "Leo, I won't let you down this time. All I wanted was to win back his trust." Surprisingly, I felt more than just gratitude for him. Leo helped set up the camera on the TV, and we waited for the brothers. As soon as they entered, I blurted out, "Why did you take custody of me if you wanted a slave?" Toby just grinned at me. I could not prove anything. "Yes, of course. Let's see." We checked. Everything was recorded this time. In the morning, Leo said that the four of us were going to the amusement park in honor of my last birthday and winked at me. The guys jumped in the back of the car, and Mike immediately started making stupid jokes about me. But Leo snapped at him to apologize immediately. The boys yelled in disgust. At that moment, we were approaching the police station. Toby's twin immediately rushed to the car door handle, but I managed to block it. The police were already approaching us, and while the surprised brothers were being handcuffed, Leo handed the sheriff a flash drive with the video. As we watched the twins go, Leo turned to me, looked me in the eye, and gave me a gentle hug. Then he added that we could finally live together. I felt my cheeks turn red. I was the happiest person on the planet that night. The twins were deprived of their rights to my custody, and they were obligated to pay the money spent. Leo and I were so happy about it. I started a new life. But alas, the joy was not long. A few days later, we got a call from custody saying that due to a legal accident, Leo could no longer be my guardian. Tomorrow I would be picked up by a new guardian from another city. This was the end. All night I could not find a place. After all, I was losing a dear person again. Tears were choking me, but I suddenly realized that I just had to thank Leo for everything. I got up early and immediately rushed to the music store. I was supposed to meet Leo for the last time in an hour. And when I saw him, I couldn't help but cry. He seemed broken. With trembling hands, I handed Leo the guitar he'd been craving. Leo was taken aback and tried to refuse the gift, but I tried to smile through my tears and said that he was the dearest person in my life, and I wanted him to remember me. Leo was calm and silently smiled. What? Leo, don't you care? Suddenly, someone touched me on the shoulder. I almost jumped in surprise. A young man was standing nearby. He said he was my new guardian and nodded to Leo. What does it mean? Leo gently wiped away my tears and told me I shouldn't have worried so much. It turned out that my new guardian was an acquaintance of his. Having learned that he could be deprived of guardianship, had a deal with him that no one else would take me away. It turned out that he would only be my guardian according to documents, and I would live with Leo, but not officially. I burst into tears of happiness. Leo hugged me and whispered softly that first I had to pretend that my guardian was taking me away, so that the guardianship service would not suspect anything, and in the evening he would pick me up. I replied jokingly, "Alright, Daddy, goodbye, I love you." Did you like the video? Then subscribe and like it. Support the channel, thank you.